Alrighty, how's it going? Brad Jacobson back here again, and I'd figure that I'd try something kind of fun today. Staying off the sand, staying in the studio. Let's play a little game. I've seen a lot of these never have I ever, where it's a game where you have to keep points of things that are on a list that you haven't done. This should be pretty fun. It's Friday. I don't know when you're watching this video, but today is Friday, and I decided to just put everything aside. Let's have some fun. All right. First thing, never have I ever had salt water drip out of your nose hours after surfing. I know for me, especially when I was in school, you'd surf in the morning, you get to class, and it just kind of opens up and you're like, oh my God, like I'm that guy. Like people who don't know that you surf, they just see this coming out and they think, what kind of weirdo am I sitting next to? All right. Give yourself a point if you've never had that happen. The second one, break a surfboard while you're doing anything but riding a wave. I myself have had this happen to me. I was paddling out at a really kind of a big day on a beach break day, shallow water. These waves come in top to bottom. Wave came in, broke right on my head. I put the board aside. I was trying to punch through the wave. And when I did that, it actually broke right on top of the board. Knucklehead move. I should know better than that. Board landed right on it. Boom, I came up and I'm like, my board sure feels lighter right about now. Well, yeah, because it's broken in half. Half your board's floating towards the sand. So yeah, that happened to me. If it's happened to you, let me know in the comments. Keep track. You get a point if it's never happened to you. Have you ever had your wetsuit or swimsuit torn off in the ocean? A lot of times it'll happen where a wave catches you wrong, you know, maybe it breaks on your head or whatever, and boom, pulls back. You'll feel it pull on the wetsuit a lot. I'm sure women have probably had it happen more than men. I've never had it happen. I've surfed in swim trunks before where, you know, you're going to duck dive and it kind of hits your lower back and you're like, uh-oh. Am I going bareback? Like true bareback now with nothing on? Luckily, they stayed on, dropped a little bit, but I was able to pull them back up. You get a point if that's never happened to you. That's never happened to me. So if I was playing, I would get a point here. The next one. Have you ever seen a shark while surfing? I personally have. I was in Santa Barbara, the Santa Barbara area, and no one was out. I paddled out, sitting there. I saw a bird, seagull land in the water. It caught my eye. Right behind it, I saw a fin. That's just a dolphin. You know, dolphin fins, if you don't know, dolphin fins have a tendency to lean back more than a shark fin will go more straight up and down. I looked and I thought, that's not a dolphin fin. And then the thing turned towards me and I found out that I could walk on water that day. When I made it in, there was a guy standing on the beach there and he looked at me and he goes, I'm pretty sure that was a shark out there. Did you see it? And I was like, yeah. Did you see me, you know, walking on water? All right, the next one. Peed in your wetsuit. I think maybe all of us have done this, including me. I've done it. They say it's not good for your wetsuit, so you probably shouldn't do it, but what are you gonna do? Next one. Snaked another surfer. Yeah, especially when I was young, when I was a teenager and I surfed a lot. I'll never forget one day I was out there surfing and I would just go. I mean, they were just selfish teenage stuff. And my buddy was actually going for a wave. We went fiberglass to fiberglass. And I realized, yeah, I need to look behind me as well. He was nice about it. I really haven't snaked anybody too much since. You know, now you know to look behind you. All right, so the next one. Have you ever tripped over your leash? Generally, surfers don't want to put their leash on until they're getting ready to walk into the water. But every now and then when you're surfing and you get out, because whatever the tide is taking you down the beach, you get out and you're coming back up, and as you're walking back, you're still looking outside. Maybe your friend catches a wave or whatever, and then that leash gets stuck, caught in between your toes, which is the worst of all. It gets caught in between your toes, and the first thing you do is, luckily I didn't throw the board or go head over heels or anything like that, but I did trip over it, and you just turn bright red, and you're like, that's an idiot move. It's happened. Probably happened to a lot of you out there, but if it hasn't, make sure you collect that point. Next one, had a surfboard fly off your roof racks. I had this happen. Luckily, it wasn't my board. It was actually a friend of mine's board, and he was the one responsible for putting it on the racks. We were heading up north, about a 2-hour drive. We pull into the hotel and we get out and we're like, hey, Noah. Hey, Noah Collins, if you're watching this, I'm sure you remember this. Hey, Noah, where's your board at? brand new board. Luckily, he had sponsorships that helped pay for the boards, but still, you never want to do it. We had no idea where we went. I mean, I was doing a fairly decent job of keeping my eye in the rearview mirror the whole drive, but it was dark out. We were driving late at night, and it must have flown off, and I believe it ended up on the side of the freeway, and someone got themselves a free board that needed a little bit of ding damage. But if it's never happened to you, collect that point. This one's going to date us. It dates me. Have you ever called 976 Surf? For those of you that are younger, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about right now. And no, it's not one of those lines where you call up and you have a sexy voice on the other end whispering sweet nothings. This is 976 Surf. I believe it was Surfline before Surfline. So what you would do is you get up in the morning, you would call it, and it would give you the regional surf forecast for that day. Hey, it's 2 to 3 feet down at the Huntington Beach Pier, you know, with fair to good conditions. You didn't get to see anything. It wasn't like they'd send you anything. You couldn't. It was, I believe it was all dial, like the old rotary phones. Hello? But they were pre-recorded. Somebody got up in the morning and made that surf forecast, and that's how you knew if there were waves or not. Generally speaking, I remember every time we would go, we would just go. We would just go surfing and hope that it was fun. Especially when you're younger, it's fun to go out when it's 1 foot. If you've never called 976 Surf, give yourself a point and consider yourself young. The next one, surfed in the dark. Have you ever surfed in the dark? I did one time. I was in college at UC Santa Barbara, and it was a Friday night, and Friday night at Isla Vista was party central, man. There are people lined up and down. If you've ever been there, it is an absolute blast. I've heard it's gotten a little more calm these days, but anyway, crazy kegs in everyone's front yards, bands playing. Anyway, we all were hanging out, having a good time, and someone said, let's go surf. Luckily, we had not started to really drink much by that point. I was still sober. So we all grabbed surfboards, headed out, middle of the night, and I just remember it being pitch dark. It was super dark that night. And you would see the horizon because the water is darker than the sky, not much, but a little bit, and it would rise up. And when that would rise up, you'd be like, you would just turn around and then paddle. You don't know how big it. We knew the surf wasn't big, but you just started paddling. And because we surfed a lot back in those days, once you felt yourself going, you would know if it was big enough to try to stand up. But we must have looked crazy out there. And I remember afterwards, we walked back up the stairs at Isla Vista. You got to go up. It's a cliffside. Walk back up, and we're walking through the town, and there's parties everywhere, and we've got our wetsuits on and our surfboards. Anyway, if you've never surfed at night, give yourself a point. The next one is slept overnight on the beach. Now, I've slept on the beach, but I've never slept overnight on the beach. Next one up is run over your surfboard with your car. I luckily have never done this. Sometimes at the El Porto parking lot when I'm down there filming, people will lay their boards out while they're changing or whatever. So you always have to look in both your rearview mirror and your side mirror to make sure there's nothing back there. I've got a rearview camera in my car as well, so I can see it that side. But I've never done that. I get another point. Have you ever done that? And if you have, I'm sorry. I've seen it happen. It's an ugly sound, fiberglass and tires and concrete and everything just crunching together. It's not a pretty sound. The next one, have you ever forgot to bring your wetsuit? I did once. I've done a lot of these. Really, really good day with a couple different surfers. And this is back when I would film in the water. And I got there and I met my buddies in the parking lot. And they got their wetsuits on, and I grabbed my going to the back to grab my camera equipment and everything and my wetsuit. Middle of the winter, freezing cold. And I thought, oh my God, I forgot my wetsuit. Matt Pagan, if you're watching this, thank goodness Matt Pagan was there. He was sponsored by Body Glove at the time. He had a couple extra wetsuits in his car. He said, hey, I just washed this one last night. Here you go, man. And thank you so much. Obviously, he got some pretty cool photos that day, huge barrels. It was a fun day, but totally forgot my wetsuit. Just brained it out. Lately, I've been forgetting my card for my camera. I've done it twice this year. If you've never forgot to bring your wetsuit, give yourself a point. 2 left. One of them is lost a fin while surfing. I've seen it happen. I've heard about it happen. You didn't tighten the fin all the way down or whatever. Never happened to me. I'm pretty lucky in that case. So I get a point on that one. But if you're like me and you've never lost a fin in the ocean, give yourself a point as well. And the very last one, the most entertaining one probably on this list, is have you ever surfed naked? I'm taking the 5th. Anyway, how many points did you get? Let me know in the comments below. If you've got some cool stories, feel free to write them out there. I'll read through them, and I love seeing this stuff. But hey, I hope you had fun. It's Friday afternoon. I just having a good time, man. Have yourself a great day. Have a great weekend. Hopefully you'll catch some waves. There's not much here in Southern California, but it's still going to be a warm weekend to go out there and get wet. Thanks for watching. I'm Brad Jacobson, and I'll see you on the sand.